Christensen's Innovator's Dilemma is a fantastic insight. What it says in a nutshell is danger can lurk below. Let me expand on that a little bit. Imagine you look at an industry and what you plot is, over time, the appetite for features that customers demonstrate. And if you look at any of the industries, maybe the one you work in or the ones you're exposed to, consumer goods, fashion, etc., there are things that over time customers ask more and more of. So the demand, and if you have an MP3 player, you want more and more storage. If you have clothes, you want, I don't know, if you buy clothes online, you want a seamless returns policy, etc., etc. So over time, customers increase the amount of features or the quality of features they want from an industry. And what you find, and what Christensen's insight is if you look at the supply side and you plot the provision of such features over time, one of the things he discovers is actually that often the suppliers increase features at a higher rate than customers actually demand. Now you might say, why do they do that? Well, there's a number of reasons. The first one is suppliers cover a whole range of customers, and they amongst these customers are very demanding ones, which are often key accounts, etc. And for these, you need to add the features. And then the second thing is suppliers tend to keep tab on each other, and as soon as someone offers more storage or better returns policy, then other suppliers copy. And so there's a sort of arms race, if you will, of features provision in most industry that has the S1 shape here. So far, so good. Now, the other thing that Christensen's noticed is in many industries, there's another supply line, let's call it S2, which is a bunch of people whose offering at a given point in time really is not credible. It's a bit too unreliable, too shoddy, too sort of frugal, if you want. And what Christensen notices is over time, because these guys also become better and better and better and add features, there comes a point you can probably see here where the first tier suppliers, the incumbent, the leaders in the industry, offer an amount of features that is in excess of what customers demand, and usually with a slightly higher price, whereas the sort of second tier suppliers, the new entrants, the not really established people, might at that point have something where they don't offer quite all the feature, but the price might be a bit lower. And what you find here is, to quote, to paraphrase Malcolm Gladwell, is you often find a tipping point, which is there's a time where if you're the top suppliers in industry, you're swimming along, you're doing really nicely, etc. There's a bunch of slight wannabes that you don't really respect, sort of underfoot. But they don't seem to be a problem. And then, puff! At one point in time, a huge amount of the demand transfers over to the curve 2. Those of you familiar with social media, you may recognize in that particular curve something that goes, MySpace, boom, Facebook, or Facebook, boom, WhatsApp, Instagram, etc., etc. And what the insight of Christensen is if you're adding on to your offering, make it more feature-rich, more complicated, more and more pictures, more and more in social media, more and more facilities, etc., etc. And you find that you have some competitors that have a single feature, not particularly, actually Twitter is another one, and what you'll find is there's a possibility that at a point in time, all your customers swap in one go to something that was historically not particularly threatening to you, but all of a sudden takes you through the cleaner. If I show you the historical example that Christensen used for his insights, it was over time, the performance, the demand and the supply for different types of technology in computer. And so he started, if you look at sort of late 70s, demand from mainframe market, the mainframe market kept increasing, and then the technology for that was 14-inch drive, and these kept getting better and better if you think about the capacity on the left-hand side. At the same time, there was a kind of bizarre technology, 8-inch drive, that was not very good. It didn't have a great capacity, but it kept improving, improving, improving. And at some point, if you can see here in the top line, the 8-inch drive technology takes over or steals all the mainframe market from 14-inch. And if you look sort of from 1980 to 1990, there's been 4 or 3 such swaps where technologies that were deemed feature poor or not good enough actually stole the market from the incumbents. Okay? And so, in summary, what you do here is, it's not a theory, it doesn't really come with specific prescription, but what it says is, are we rushing ahead too much? Are we offering more features than our customers really want? And crucially, are there competitors that offer a slightly simpler version, which over time will be good enough for our customers? And here, what do you do next? Well, typically two big solutions. The first one is kind of maybe be careful about over innovating, and then the second is hedge your bets. Facebook buying Instagram and all of these things by sort of stepping into S2 just in case. Okay, so it's not a theory, but it's a fantastic framework to help you think: can innovation be detrimental? And are we about to be massively disrupted by people we don't really fear, which tend to be typically the existing but slightly laughed at suppliers in our industry?